I'm Jim Leach, and I'll be your host for the next hour as we discuss important issues facing Dana Point, with the 9 candidates vying for 3 open seats on the City Council. Victoria's candidates will serve 4-year terms. Thank you for being with us today. The South Orange County Economic Coalition and Cox Communications have teamed up to host a series of forums featuring local candidates on the ballot for the November 4th general election. We believe an informed electorate is a vital component of our democratic process, and it's an honor to bring these forums to you. Today, we're pleased to welcome our candidates. They are Chuck Rathbone, Jody Payne, Richard Vicsorik, Nancy Jenkins, Joe Muller, Roy Dival, John Tomlinson, Alan Wickstrom, and Harold Kaufman. Here's the format for the forum. Each candidate will be allowed up to 1.5 minutes to make an opening statement. I will then pose a series of questions to each candidate, and they will have 1 minute to respond. At the end of each question, each candidate will have 1 minute to provide a summary closing statement. On the first opening statement now will be delivered by Chuck Rathbone.
Hello, and thank you for tuning into this broadcast and taking time out of your day to show that you care about Dana Point. I care about Dana Point as well, and that's why I'm running for this office. I'd like to use this time allotted to share some of my experience and vision and ask for your support. Protecting the taxpayers of our city and assuring the proper use of our city resources should be our top priority. My entire business career, spanning 36 years, has been in finance and accounting. I think my unique skill sets in analyzing and protecting financial assets will benefit our city. As a city councilman, I will be a part of our city's administration, and my degree in business administration from the University of Redlands, I think, will serve well in this capacity. Our city is a vital participant in local schools, both private and public. I served for 4 years on a local school board and presided over the governance of 18 schools and 15,000 students. Like you, I recognize that education is a vital part of our community. As your city councilman, I will be working with governments, advisory boards, and special districts. As an appointee to a California State Advisory Board and other committees, I have the unique qualifications of having had real-time experience navigating through state bureaucracies. I will continue to stand for parents' rights, homeowners' rights, and to protect the taxpayers, businesses, and retirees. Our vision for our future, as outlined in the Town Center Plan, needs to be protected and fulfilled for the benefit of Dana Point citizens, not outside interest groups. I'm also very concerned about local congestion and parking, and I strongly believe in safety and support a strong law enforcement. I appreciate your vote. Thank you very much.
Our next opening statement comes from Jody Payne.
Hello, my name is Jody Payne, and I'm an 18-year resident of Dana Point. My husband and I have been married 26 years, and we have 3 daughters, 2 of whom are still at Dana Hills High School. My background is in education. I taught high school English at Fullerton High School for several years, and I have a master's degree in English. I currently am a business owner with an educational company I co-own with my sister. My slogan has been residents first, and what that means to me is that quality of life is so important to our residents, and there's a common thread going through my campaign, and that is, number one, that we need to adhere to all our zoning codes, the spirit and the letter of the law. We need to make our town center as beautiful and as vital as it can be while protecting our rights of our citizens and keeping everything beautiful without traffic, without too much of a loss of parking, and vital. I believe in fiscal responsibility. I would like to rebuild and maintain our rainy day funds, and I'm obviously concerned about public safety. We need our streets, our trails, our sidewalks, our beaches. Every part of Dana Point needs to be safe for every family and visitor and member of the community. Thank you very much.
Our next opening statement comes from Richard Vicsorik.
Good afternoon. I'm Richard Vicsorik. I'd like to tell you a little bit about myself and why I'm running. I went to UCLA where I earned a political science degree. After that, I went to Santa Clara University where I earned my law degree. After graduating from law school and passing the bar, I opened up my own firm and did estate planning. It really gave me a taste of running my own business. At age 29, wanting to do more than just look out for myself and wanting to give back to the country, I went down to the recruiter's office and I joined the United States Marine Corps. I did 2 tours on active duty, and I then joined the reserves. Upon joining the reserves, I've been mobilized 3 times, during one of which I deployed to Iraq with an infantry battalion into the Anbar province, which unfortunately is back in the news today. Upon the conclusion of my last mobilization, I moved my family to Dana Point, and I once again hung out my own shingle where I practice appellate law in Capistrano Beach. I also continue to serve in the Marine Corps Reserve, and I was recently promoted to the rank of Lieutenant Colonel. I'm running for City Council really for the same reasons that I joined the Marine Corps. I love the city, and I want to give something back, and I want to serve. I have a wife and 3 sons. I'm concerned that the future will be good for them. We need to keep moving forward and maintain our positive momentum. I'm also a small business owner, and I want to do what I can to enhance local businesses. And lastly, I believe that character matters in our elected officials. Once again, I'm Richard Vicsorik. On November 4th, please vote Vicsorik.
Thank you. Our next opening statement is from Nancy Jenkins.
As I begin, I just want to thank both the Economic Coalition and Cox for having this opportunity. I am currently serving on a commission for Dana Point City, and it's the Arts and Cultural Commission. Prior to that, I was on a city subcommittee dealing with charitable grants. With this experience in the city and working for 23 years in 5 nonprofits throughout the city, I have been on the board. I'm actively involved. I know a lot of citizens, and I've been listening to the citizens. I hear the good, the bad, and the ugly. And this is what's motivated me, because this is a pivotal time in Dana Point for some changes. It'll be the first time they have 3 new members. There are no incumbents running, and I feel that we need a board that does represent the cities. In addition to that, in my career, I was very involved in administration. I taught classes, adjunct classes at Pepperdine University. And after I retired, I've worked in consensus, I've worked in group strategic planning, and in all of that aspect, I am very involved and know how a city council should run and be respectful and listen to each other. Thank you very much. I'm number 4 on the ballot.
Thank you. Next up, Joe Muller.
Hi, I'm Joe Miller, and I'm running for City Council in Dana Point. I want to tell you a little bit about myself tonight. I grew up in the Midwest in Wisconsin. I went to the University of Wisconsin, where I graduated with a degree in chemistry. After I graduated, I worked as a chemist for a couple of years before moving on to Texas and changing careers and moving on to a sales position. We were a small company, and we had to be very entrepreneurial. So what we had to do is come up with different strategies on selling commodities that everybody else was. We basically had the same things. Everybody had the same, just different logos. We came up with a supply chain management tool. I'm 25 years old. We worked on this. We came out with it, and we started to dominate our market in automation. What we had to do is convince our customers that we could increase their revenues by using our strategies. That's what I bring to the city of Dana Point. We come in, we're entrepreneurial, I'm very, very creative. We need creative ideas right now. There are a lot of things happening in Dana Point that need creative ideas. We're moving forward. We can't stagnate. This city council that we have right now took the first steps forward and got done what needed to be done. We're gonna have small businesses, we're gonna have new restaurants, we're gonna have services to serve our residents. That's the biggest thing we need to focus on right now, is we need to serve our residents with these changes. My last part of my career before I moved into property management was I worked in sales for an educational software company, and my job was to secure state and federal appropriations. That's my government background. That's my political background. I understand how government works, I understand how politicians work, and I understand how business works. That's just a quick overall briefing about myself. On November 4th, please vote Joe Muller for City Council. I'm number 5 on your ballot. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Roy Dival.
Thank you, Jim. My name is Roy Reginald Dival IV, AKA Ryan, and I consider myself the people's candidate. I'm not here as a career politician looking to launch my platform for the next big thing. I'm here to take care of the residents and the people. It is imperative that with all the changes going through Dana Point right now, that the residents be put first. We want to make sure that any developments are put forth in the best interest of the residents. I came here into the city council race for one reason. That's my 9-year-old daughter. It is imperative to me that she sees the Dana Point like I saw it, like I grew up around. I'm a fourth generation South County resident. My great-grandfather helped to come to this area and instill what has become a pearl on the necklace of Orange County. So I can't say how imperative it is for me to see responsible development. In addition to that, I have 3 main platforms: the development of the city. 2, I want to work tirelessly to get a skate park built within our community. Our kids need to be occupied and stay away from tougher matters such as drugs. Prescription drugs and heroin have become an epidemic in our area, and I'm looking to fight it with everything I have. So when it comes time this November 4th, you need to vote local. Vote for the resident's choice, Ryan Dival, City of Dana Point. Thank you.
Thanks very much. Our next opening statement is from John Tomlinson.
Hello, my name is John Tomlinson, and I'm running for Dana Point City Council. I've been a resident for Dana Point for 9 years. I believe that my education, my experience as a small business owner, my volunteer leadership positions in both nonprofit and profit organizations, and my ability to build consensus will serve the residents of Dana Point well for the next 4 years. As a volunteer leader, I enjoy working with programs such as the Scouting program, which my son is a Bear Scout and hopefully will become an Eagle Scout someday. In fact, this weekend, we will be taking a camping trip to the Irvine Regional Park, where we help build these young men into good, responsible, and honest citizens of our country. And they will enjoy a lot of benefits and programs that we've put together for them. We'll be cooking for them and doing a lot of things for the Scouts. I hope to do that for our city someday on November 4th. So please vote John Tomlinson. I hope to earn your vote. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next opening statement is from Alan Wickstrom.
Hello, my name is Alan Wickstrom. I'm number 8 on the ballot. 8 is great. And I have lived in this town for 28 years, 28 wonderful years. I've been married to my beautiful wife, Liz, for 27 years and love Dana Point like no other. My actions demonstrate my love and care for this town. I've been on the board of the Dana Point 5th Marine Support Group for 6 years, chair the Government Affairs Committee on the Chamber, been on the board for the Chamber for 4 years, president of the Socia Foundation at Dana Hills High School, and also enjoy everything around town and absolutely love working in this town and providing that. I was president of the Monarch Beach Sunrise Rotary Club last year and vice chair of the Arts and Culture Commission. This election is about you, the residents of Dana Point, and my goal is to provide fiscal responsible budget planning, as well as good stewardship and full funding in our town center, and completion of the Doheny Village specific plan, a skate park for our youth. Definitely want to see that happen, but not in Sea Terrace Park. We've got to find a good place for it, and a more transparent digital government so that we have access very good on our cell phones as well. Again, my name is Alan Wickstrom, number 8 on the ballot. Appreciate your vote. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And our final opening statement is from Harold Kaufman.
Good evening. My name's Harold Kaufman, and I'm running for the City Council of Dana Point. It was my honor to work for you as a City Council member from 1994 to 2002. And during those 8 years, we accomplished a tremendous amount, from a water facility at Salt Creek Beach to developing a senior center to gaining consensus on the headlands. We started a youth board for our young people to get involved and get a voice in government. And we defeated the airport at El Toro. We did a tremendous amount, but that's all been in the past. What are we going to do in the future? My plan is to complete Town Center as it's been designed and as it should be developed. We worked on it for many, many years. It started back when I was the first chairman of the first Planning Commission, and I want to see that project finally completed. I want to complete the specific plan in Doheny Village. When I was on the council, we widened the sidewalks, we planted trees, we undergrounded utilities, but we need to do more. I want to build a skateboard park. In 2001, the Youth Board's first recommendation to us was to build a skateboard park. It's been 13 years, and we've not done it. It's time to do it. We've always been fiscally conservative, and I want to keep that going. That's how we pay for what we've done. We've been able to save our money before and not have to go out and bond. We need to change our employee retirement program from a defined benefit system to a defined contribution 401k type plan. I want to maintain a very tight conservative government, and I ask for your vote. I'm the last on the ballot, but first in the hearts of Dana Point. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you all. We'll now begin the question portion of the forum. Each candidate will have 1 minute in turn to respond to the question posed. And our first question involves the delicate balance every city faces between quality of life and economic development. With the city fairly built out, the focus of development planning in Dana Point has been the town center, Doheny Village, and the harbor. What was your position on those projects, and more broadly, what's your general approach to balancing economic development and quality of life issues? We'll start the questioning with Mr. Vicsorik.
Thank you. The answer to this question is to bring the residents together with the developers and all the stakeholders. The town center plan was developed by having several meetings with all of the various stakeholders, including the developers, including the residents, including city leaders. And the idea was to make sure that the development is done in accordance with the wishes and balancing what the residents of Dana Point want. Now, once that's accomplished, we have a town center plan, and it should be followed. As an attorney, I believe in the rule of law. So when it comes to development, we need to follow what the town center plan puts forth, because it is the law on land use and development in that area. We also need to recognize that the legislature has allowed for variances, and that variances under certain circumstances, while not favored, can be legal. So when looking at individual projects, they need to be looked at on a case-by-case basis and determine whether they comply with the law.
Thank you. Question on balancing economic development and the quality of life issues, Ms. Jenkins.
Thank you. All the candidates agree that we need to move ahead on all the projects. But I think a real difference lies in the fact and how that's going to be approached. As I mentioned before, I believe very strongly in what the citizens, residents want. And they don't want us to look like some of the other beach towns in California that have developed high-rise. They want a quaint feeling, but yet they want a modern feeling. My analogy is somebody who moves into a house, an old house, and they love it, but the kitchen needs to be remodeled. And when they do that, they have to follow rules and regulations. In following those rules and regulations, the developers need to work together with the staff and with the community to follow them. But some variances do come about because each one has a special design element, and we all appreciate, we want the modernization of the first ground floor so it becomes a resident-friendly area where we have businesses, and that is the driving force for the businesses. Thank you.
Thank you. Question now, Mr. Miller.
You know, when people talk about developing the city of Dana Point, I think they kind of get off in the wrong direction. I mean, they're more focused on what are these buildings going to look like? You know, are they going to be 3 or 4 stories? And I think that's the wrong direction. We need to think about when we do development and balancing quality of life, it's not what the building looks like. It's about the businesses we draw into those commercial and retail spaces, along with restaurant spaces. I think the city council needs to take a broader view on this and say, we need to go out and find ways to draw in those resident-serving businesses. That should be our main focus. We need to pay attention to our town center master plan for sure. I mean, we have rules, we need to follow those. We have building codes for a reason. The master plan has codes in it for a reason. We need to pay attention to that. But our main focus really needs to be to go out, attract the small businesses, incentivize our current small businesses to stay in Dana Point and serve the residents and create the services that we need. Thanks.
Thank you. Question on economic development and quality of life to Mr. Dival.
Well, it's an interesting question, Jim, based on the fact that everybody's going to say a really similar answer. We want responsible development for our town center. But what does that really mean? And you'll hear different points of view on how the facades need to look, or how the density needs to be, or how the proportions need to be on business versus residents. But realistically, you got to go to the people's perspective of what they want, and the people want a better city to live in. And that doesn't necessarily mean drawing in large type businesses to their town. And it definitely means, to a lot of them, not drawing in more and more and more residents. They like our quaint town. They like our small town feel, and that needs to be respected. Quality of life in our budgets is very important to us. That's why we've been putting on events. That's why we've been really listening to the needs and wants and desires of our public. And we want to take care of them as best as possible. So, bottom line is, we need to make sure that every step of the way their needs are considered. Thank you.
Thank you. Next question or same question rather, to Mr. Tomlinson.
Community development is a very important part of our future. And after that development is done, we need to bring small business to Dana Point. Small businesses account for 85% of the job growth in the state of California. What we have here today is a situation where governors are coming to our state and luring businesses away by saying, what can we do for you? Dana Point is a great place. We have our start with the town center, with a beautiful setting for that place to grow businesses. If we go, I want to be the guy that goes to the person and says, hey, what can we do to get you to start your small business in Dana Point? The small business process is very hard to get a business started because of all the permitting and all the things that have to be done for you to open your doors. I'd like to get business doors open sooner so that more jobs and more money come to Dana Point to support our residents and our programs.
Thank you. Talking about the balance between economic development and quality of life, we turn to Mr. Wickstrom.
I have been on the Dana Point Chamber of Commerce Board for 4 years and a member of the Chamber for 19, and a Dana Point business owner for 19 years. And this means near and dear to my heart, having strong economic development in our community. And our town center plan is a great start, and we need to continue moving forward with it. And the leadership that you're going to elect moving forward are the folks that will decide the look and feel of your beautiful small town. And the goal of keeping a small town small is to keep the appearance of it, is to have fine architectural quality buildings, environmentally sound, and to meet our master plans and guidelines. And when you elect me to City Council, I will make sure that we follow those things based on 2 items: the law and common sense. I support Doheny Village specific plan. I have very detailed information on alfredp.com, and as well the harbor revitalization. We need to see that move forward, and look forward to seeing that done very soon.
Thank you. Question to Mr. Kaufman.
The reason for development is not to bring lots of business and tourists and traffic to the city of Dana Point. The reason we want to have good development is so that we can increase and make better the quality of life for the people who live in Dana Point. I can't buy a pair of underwear in Dana Point. I have to go outside to do that. We have visitors that come to Dana Point, and when they go out from their hotels, they go to Laguna Beach rather than staying in Dana Point. We have residents that don't have a good place to walk around and meet, and we don't have a good place to have functions in Dana Point. That's the idea of development. Those are the types of things that we want to do. We need to do the same type of thing in Capistrano Beach in Doheny Village and along Coast Highway in front of the timeshares. The idea is to provide for our residents the best living experience that we possibly can at the best cost that we possibly can, and to make it as viable as we can. Thank you.
We're talking with candidates for the City Council in Dana Point. Question has to do with the position on the town center, Doheny Village, and the harbor revitalization. And what's your general approach to balancing economic development with quality of life? Mr. Rathbone.
Yes, and first of all, I'd like to say that I very strongly support the town center plan. This plan was adopted in June of 2008 after, I think, over 30 meetings and close to $1 million. But a lot of people in the community were involved with this. They established criteria and guidelines for what that development and what it was going to look like. So the problem we have right now is that some developments are coming in with some variances. And I'm very opposed to variances, especially when they really aren't related to hardships, where they're mainly economic, but not truly the hardships that are required in order for them to have the variance. We've also had the Doheny Hotel that has been appealed to the City Council. I'm opposed to that because it's massive, but it's also asking for major variances. So the bottom line for me is that follow the rules, follow the guidelines. We welcome the development. We want the development in our community. I support small businesses, and I want to ensure that we have the town center plan working the way it was intended by the people of Dana Point. Thank you.
Thank you. Question now to Jody Payne.
We do need to attract small business. We need a vital Dana Point, but the buildings do matter. We're having too many developers come in with projects that are way out of line with our guidelines. When we have a 3-story zoning and we have 4 and 5 stories and double the height limit, there's really something wrong. When we have projects like the new development at the trailer park that come in and have no variance requests, it's so smooth and so easy, and it will benefit our whole community much, much quicker. We don't want more. We want to keep our density down. We want to be able to adequately provide parking for our visitors and residents, and we don't want too many condos. This is such an important issue. Remember that there is no small town along the coastline that has a higher than 3-story zoning. All of us like that and like that small town feel. Thank you for supporting me. My name's Jody Payne.
Thank you. We're going to drill down a little on traffic now. And when you consider the business growth in your city, ongoing congestion on I-5 down the road through San Clemente, and the continuing debates over what to do with the 241 toll road, what specific solutions do you have to mitigate the region's transportation-related future impacts on your city? We'll start this time with Nancy Jenkins.
Interesting question. I haven't been looking at this answer in a global area and thinking of the freeways and everything. But I have been looking at it very carefully in Dana Point because traffic is going to change dramatically with the amount of people moving in and also with the configuration of our roads. In addition to that, parking, which I think the two, traffic and parking, are related, and the fact that we don't have a master plan at this point for parking. And it's not only in town center, it's at the events. I've been in charge of the volunteer at all the events for the Dana Point 5th Marines over the summer, and I have volunteers that send me text messages and say, I can't come, I can't find a parking place. There isn't one for the shuttle bus at the high school. We need to find solutions. Right now, they're widening all of our freeways going in South County. We need additional lanes. We need to plan ahead so that we have a plan that works for a certain number of years and we don't have to do construction right away. I'm Nancy Jenkins. Thank you.
Thank you. Question to Mr. Miller.
You know, when we talk about traffic in Dana Point, one of the things that people don't talk about is the incredible job that our councilmen did with our master plan. They have already addressed a lot of these issues in the town center master plan by requiring the developers, if they were going to create a traffic issue, they need to resolve the traffic issue themselves, either by adding additional lanes, adding turn lanes, or whatever the need may be. When you get outside of Dana Point, you start talking about the congestion on the 5. That's a much larger issue, and we need to start thinking about the 241 toll road. It needs to be extended. It is being extended right now, but we need to find different paths. We need to make sure that we take the environment into consideration as we stretch these major highways through our rural areas. Getting back to Dana Point, and Nancy brought up a good issue on parking. We've also requiring subterranean parking with the new developments, and that's going to alleviate a lot of the parking issues for us. So in general, I think the City Council has done a fantastic job with the local traffic in Dana Point, and they've also addressed the parking issue, but we still need to work more on solving the traffic issues on the 5 freeway. Thank you.
Thank you. We're talking about solutions to transportation-related impacts on Dana Point. Turn to Mr. Dival.
Well, it's 2014. Weren't we all supposed to be flying in jetpacks and riding hoverboards by now? Unfortunately not. Unfortunately, we're still in these gas guzzling machines who seem to just get tighter and tighter around our city's streets. And while I completely disagree with the city's traffic report and the parking report that they have, saying there's over 1,000 open spaces at any given time, I just don't see the numbers on how that makes sense. And I'd love to see a re-report done and a new analysis. But I think subterranean parking is going to be absolutely crucial for all new future developments. I want to see a lot of cutouts and non-metered Main Street parking as well. It shouldn't fall on the residents' hands where they can't even park in front of their house anymore. Traffic's going to be a big deal. Maybe the solution is we all get hoverboards for the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Talking about solutions to transportation issues in Dana Point, Mr. Tomlinson.
I think that the realignment and the reconfiguration of the I-5 southbound from Ortega Highway to Community Estrella is going to help some of the problems on the freeway going south on Saturdays and on big holidays when traffic is the highest. I also think the toll road needs to be completed. That'll help relieve some of the pressure from the main artery of 5. And I think also that we could use shuttles and for special events to off-site parking areas to alleviate those times when there are traffic jams and parking problems in the city. I think that the development of the lots that are currently undeveloped in the city will help bring parking solutions to us, as we'll have more places to park for businesses and residents. Thank you.
Thank you. On this question, we turn to Mr. Wickstrom.
I am for the extension of the 241 to the 5. It's a real safety issue. We really need to understand that if something were to happen to the 5 freeway, we really would be stuck. And we've got to figure out a way that will avoid the watersheds and make this happen. So I support that wholeheartedly, 241 extension down to the 5. In terms of parking, our city is taking great strides to work with private developers who are not using their many vacant lots. An example is the one that was approved recently over in front of Capo Beach Church and on Domingo and Doheny Park Road, where they're going to be paving it over and making free parking there. We've got our farmers market there as well, and it'd be a great improvement in that area. I'd also like to see a traffic study done post PCH and post Del Prado construction, and let's see what we can do to tweak and modify it so that it's better for all residents. I believe synchronizing the lights have been fantastic. Want to see more studies done on that, and then have action plans in there so that parking and traffic in Dana Point won't be that much of an issue. Thank you.
On this question, we turn to Mr. Kaufman.
Thank you very much. It's very interesting, this question, and to listen to the other candidates who do not have the experience to understand that Dana Point is really a member of a regional community. We are just one city in South County, and we have to deal with our neighbors as much as possible to make life better for all of us in the South County. I served as the vice chairman of the Foothill Eastern Corridor Agency. I'm a very large supporter of completing the 241 down through the 5. I think it's absolutely necessary for us to complete that, and the master plan, which is part of the master plan of highways for South Orange County. I believe in increasing the size of the 5, widening the 5, and I want to make sure that we get carpool lanes that are not toll lanes. I do not want the carpool lanes on the 5 to become toll lanes as they are on the 91. We need to be very careful how we move traffic through town. We get a tremendous amount of visitors, and when the 5 is clogged, when the 5 is clogged, we get many, many more people, all trying to get around whatever is going on in the 5. So it's very important that we maintain our ability to be a member of the regional community. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We're talking with candidates for the City Council in Dana Point relative to solutions to traffic impacts in their city. Turn to Mr. Rathbone.
Right now, you go down PCH, look at Del Prado, all the traffic, the congestion, it's terrible. I mean, we've got new signal lights. It's really a problem. One of the things in the town center plan was that there would actually be parking structures in place prior to this construction. Well, that's never happened. One of my priorities would be to ensure that we do look into this particular area. Another thing is trolleys. Why not look at trolleys as being part of the way to move back and forth from the from the harbor up through the downtown. So I'm all supportive of those type of ways to move around. So I think we need to look strongly at other alternatives to parking and ensure we have better traffic signals flowing through our city. Thank you.
Thank you. Same question to Ms. Payne.
Traffic is a vital issue, and we need to look realistically, excuse me, at the kinds of traffic and the patterns that new businesses bring in, such as hotels and condominiums and restaurants. We need the new business. It's very important to us, but we need to make sure that our traffic is not so jammed that none of us want to go downtown. Downtown, we're all having growing pains with the new two-way PCH and the construction on Del Prado. And I've spoken with lots of residents who aren't too sure whether it's going to work or not, but we'll see. I support a trolley, especially in the summer months, coming all the way down to Capo Beach. It's fun, it's eco-friendly. I support bike lanes so that we can get through town with other ways. And I see that every development project brings with it a chance for us to look specifically at intersections and how to make them better. So I think we have a lot of good stuff on the plate right now. Thank you.
Question to Mr. Vicsorik.
Our city is changing, and changing for the better, and it's modernizing, and we are putting in new developments. Along with that come some negative side effects of increased traffic. Of course, everyone agrees that will need to be addressed. We have to remember, when it comes to the town center plan, one of the intended goals was to slow traffic down to help the small businesses in the town center. Now, how do you alleviate the increased traffic by slowing it down? And the answer to that is to turn to the parking issue. Of course, we need to build parking so that people can park in a centrally located lot so that they can then walk the area of the town center, as has been envisioned. This would be the best way to encourage the growth of our town while taking into account the traffic issue. Thank you.
Next question. Throughout Orange County and up and down the state, there have been growing concerns about unfunded pension liabilities for city employees. How, in your opinion, has Dana Point managed its obligations to current and future retired civil servants while protecting taxpayers from the costly ramifications associated with these retirement benefits? And what do you believe needs to be done moving forward? Question now to Mr. Miller.
You know, the city of Dana Point right now currently has no unfunded pension liability. They've done an extremely good job. One of the things they have done, though, is they passed a new law for the participating employees are now required to pay up to 50%. It hasn't gone into effect yet, but it will be 50% of their pension liability. So they've done a good job. We need to look into that even further. They're moving down the correct path. We need to move this on to more of a conventional 401k retirement plan, just like the rest of us do. I mean, I would kill for somebody to pay 50% of my retirement plan. It's a great program. And right now we have that. We have the funds available to fund those pensions, but we need to move forward so into the future we don't incur any pension liability. Thanks.
Question now to Mr. Dival.
This is an interesting one. On a city-based analysis, we don't have an entirely large staff. So this isn't like the IRS or something that's going to basically drain us for the future to come. It is imperative that you allure a good sense of city staff to come and really take good care of our community. I feel that good strides have been made. I'm open to all different new ideas, matching 401ks especially, but those, as we've seen, can be easily wiped out with the ongoing recessions. And hopefully we're out of that. We are focusing on a new future, and through private means, we'll be able to see even better returns on their investments. But at this case, it's a tightrope to walk, but I don't think at the city-based level we're in that big of a problem.
Thank you. Question on public retirement benefits and what needs to be done moving forward. Mr. Tomlinson.
Yes, I'm glad that our city has no unfunded pension liabilities. I think we've done a good job at that. I also commend the Orange County Board of Supervisors on their pension reform plan for the county. I believe that any future pension work that is done needs to be on a sustainable basis with an eye towards the future. Thank you.
Same question to Mr. Wickstrom.
As everybody has said as well, our city has no unfunded pension liability, but what our city does have is a young staff. We're 25 years old, and we are posed to see several retire soon and new people coming in as time marches on. We really need to take a very close look at the future of pensions and what liabilities that'll address to our city, and creating a 401k contribution where the employees and our city are contributing to that is going to be vital for us to move forward. We need to be forward thinking on that and make that happen. So that would be my position on that there. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Same question to Mr. Kaufman.
I love this question. I've been talking about this for many years, and I think that we ought to change the retirement system for our city employees from a defined benefit plan that is currently under CalPERS, and by the way, CalPERS is under a lot of attack right now, to a 401k type defined contribution plan. I don't mind spending the amount of money that we're spending today, but I'm very worried about what the future liability is. I don't want to get us into the same type of situation that the State Teachers Union and the prison guards are in. When I sat on the Orange County Fire Authority, and this is going to lose me a bunch of votes, but when I sat on the Orange County Fire Authority and they brought up that the rank and file wanted a retirement system of 3% at 50, the vote was 20-1 in favor of it. I was the only person who voted no. And afterwards, my colleagues asked me why I voted no. And I said it's because we can't afford that type of liability in the future. 6 or 7 people came up to me afterwards and said, boy, I wish I'd voted with you. And I said, why didn't you? And they said, well, I'm running for re-election and I don't want to lose the firefighters. So we have to look at this not as a political issue, but we have to look at it as a financial issue. I hope you'll support me. Thank you.
We're getting perspectives from City Council candidates in Dana Point on pension liabilities and a forward path. We turn to Mr. Rathbone.
Well, my prior experience, I was the Chief Financial Officer for the Eastern Municipal Water District. We also had a union there. We had PERS. I'm retired now. I receive PERS. The pension obligations of the city are very nominal. Laws were changed to affect new employees. Existing employees have the rights to retain their current plan, so I support that. The only thing that's changed is that the city has increased the amount that the employees would now pay towards their plan, where before the employer may have contributed almost all of that retirement expense. So I think the city's done a good job moving forward to ensure that the employees are taking more of that share. But new employees, the law has changed, so we can't have those 3% at 60s or 3% at 50 plans now. So again, I support the way it's been handled so far, and I would leave the way things are at the city alone. Thank you.
Thank you. Same question to Ms. Payne.
I applaud what the city has done with the unfunded pension liabilities. We only have about 20 city employees. This is not a great issue. We have laws in place now so that it won't become a great issue. I think we have much greater financial difficulties with our rainy day fund. We need to fund that. That's a much bigger issue. And it's, as a former teacher and a member of CalSTRS and also a citizen, I believe that this is not a major issue and that we are well taken care of. Our city has done an excellent job. Thank you.
And the same question to Mr. Vicsoric.
We have to remember that not all city employees are union employees. And when addressing this question, we need to take a balanced, conservative approach. That means weighing all sides and not just taking action for the sake of taking action. We have a pension plan now that pays 2% at 55. That means for every year that you work, when you retire at 55, you multiply that by 2. So if you work 20 years, you would receive 40% of your last salary as your pension. Now, we have taken a very conservative approach in that pension program, and it's working. Now, we do need to look at the possibility of the city having to cover any shortfall if CalPERS ever comes up short in paying those pensions. So we do need to take a good look at reforming the pension. But we do also need to balance that against the argument that a defined benefit program does draw better staff, better people who work for the city, and that increases the quality of life for the citizens of Dana Point. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We are out of time on the questions, so we'll now move to closing statements. I believe I'm sorry. My apologies. We have Ms. Jenkins. Pardon me. Go ahead. On the question of pension liabilities. Excuse me.
You know, I'm not going to repeat all the statistics. I agree with many of them. I'll just speak from my own experience that having been retired 10 years, I am in a pension fund that has been supported, but I also have my 401ks. I also have my SEP-IRA. For 5 years, I had my own company. And with this regard, I would have a hard time living completely on my 401 and my SEP-IRA just due to the inflation, and we're going to have another recession period. I think we have it in cycles. So I believe we need a combination. But as a city council member, it is our responsibility to make sure that we look forward to the future and that we don't have any unfunded and that we can cover any future. And we have to be as conservative as possible with the benefits of the employees in mind.
Thank you very much. Pardon the disruption. We are now out of time. We move to closing statements of 1 minute each, and we start with Mr. Tomlinson.
Thank you for taking time to get to know me today as a resident, a family man, a community leader in both volunteer and non-volunteer organizations. I hope that the future of Dana Point is very promising. I think it is. I hope to be a part of that future, and I hope I will earn your support and your vote on November 4th. John Tomlinson for Dana Point City Council. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Closing statement now from Mr. Dybel.
Thank you, Jim. I just ask the city, the residents, the people, the families of Dana Point. You've seen the candidates today. You understand their views. And I really want to express how closely I'm here with you in this campaign. I got into this campaign for the specific reason of the future of Dana Point. I'm not worried about the past. I'm not worried about how things were done 25 years ago. I'm worried about the children and the specific future of Dana Point. So I ask you, please, if you've been on the fence about voting in the past, come out. Vote specifically for Ryan Dybel on November 4th. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. We're hearing closing statements now in our community forum from the candidates for Dana Point City Council. We turn now to Mr. Wickstrom.
I love Dana Point. I love Dana Point so much. I've been here 28 years and I've expressed those words in actions. And now I am looking to move from my volunteer work I've done in nonprofit, president of our Rotary Club last year, taking pictures all over town. I just love this town. I love our people. I love our community. I love why we live here because of the small town charm. It attracted my wife and I 28 years ago, and we want to make it stay in that direction. We've got growth coming. There's not much we can do about it, but your council that you're going to be electing will be shaping the look and feel of your city for the next 4 years. And with 3 open seats and 9 of us candidates running, you've got to make a very strong, sound selection. Go with those that are part of this town and showed it in their actions and been involved. And I ask on November 4th, please vote Alan Wickstrom for Dana Point City Council. Number 8 on the ballot. 8 is great. Thank you.
Thank you. Closing statement now from Mr. Kaufman.
Thank you very much. I'm a resident of Dana Point for over 30 years. I helped give birth to the city of Dana Point. I have a tremendous amount of experience, both government and volunteer experience within the city of Dana Point. And way too much to identify it all here. I do this, and I've done this because my wife Michelle and I love the city of Dana Point. We're here for the rest of our lives, and we want to make it the best place to live. I'm asking you to please join people like Diane Harkey, Pat Bates, Todd Spitzer, Bill Breaux, Carlos Olvera, Wayne Rayfield, Bill Bamatri, Judy Carreri, Karen Lareda, Bob Moore, and many others who support my candidacy. These people have seen me in action on local issues and regional issues, and they're convinced, as my mother would be if she was still alive, that I should be put back on the council. I'm Harold Kaufman, running for Dana Point City Council. I'm last on the ballot, but I hope first in your hearts. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We're hearing closing statements of City Council candidates in Dana Point. We turn now to Mr. Rathbone.
Thank you very much. All of us here love Dana Point, and when we cast our vote, it is for our city, our neighbors, our families, and our unique way of life. I'm running for office to preserve and protect our city. I'm not here for personal gain, to represent outside interests or developers, or to use the City Council to run for higher office. My financial and governing experience will allow me to serve all of us. I'm Chuck Rathbone, asking for your support. I'm number 1 on the ballot. If you'd like more information about me, it's Chuck Rathbone for Dana Point. Chuck Rathbone for DanaPoint.com. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Closing statement from Ms. Payne.
The November 4th election is a pivotal election in Dana Point. What you decide next month, or on November 4th, will determine what Dana Point looks like for the next 50 years, not just the next 4 years. It's pivotal. The nice thing about local elections is you don't need an experienced politician up there in City Council. You need people who are smart, who are eager to work for you, who are willing to listen to you, and love Dana Point as much as you do. Please vote for me on November 4th. Please contact me if you have any questions or would like to know more about my platform. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Closing statement now from Mr. Vicsorik.
This is an important election. There are 3 open seats on our City Council. That means that a majority of the City Council will be new. And while you've listened to all the various statements and positions of the candidates, one thing to keep in mind is that there are issues that are going to arise over the next 4 years, which we are not even aware of yet. And in addressing those issues, you want to make sure that you elect someone who has the leadership and the character to fairly and effectively address those issues. You can be sure that who I am as a Marine means that I will represent the interests of the community and not my own. Once again, I'm Richard Vicsorik. I'm running for Dana Point City Council. Remember, on November 4th, to vote Vicsorik. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Closing statement from Ms. Jenkins.
I am Nancy Jenkins. I'm number 4 on the ballot. I am running for 2 reasons. One is because of what everyone else here has said. I love it. I've lived here 23 years. I work every single concert. I support the Marines. I'm on the Historical Society. The other reason is I want transparency in our government. I want a city council that will sit and respectfully listen to each other and use our minds and our thoughts for all of these decisions and get input from what the citizens want, from various sides and various opinions, to make the best decisions to continue this city as one of the most wonderful places on the coast to come and live. Thank you. I'm Nancy Jenkins, number 4.
Thank you. Closing statement now from Mr. Miller.
Well, thanks for tuning in and listening to all of us tonight. I just want to start off by saying my wife and I love Dana Point. That's why we chose Dana Point to raise our twin boys. You know, I care very deeply for our future. We're going through a lot of changes right now, and we need people that are creative and have a business experience to help drive us into the future. I think my experience will allow me to create solutions that are going to be beneficial to our residents and our taxpayers. That's something you should be looking at for all of your candidates. One of the things I will commit is I will lead, I will listen, and I will build a consensus for all the issues that are facing us today and into the future. I'm Joe Miller. I'm number 5 on your ballot, and I hope I have your vote on November 4th. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And ladies and gentlemen, we are again out of time. We'd like to thank Chuck Rathbone, Jody Payne, Richard Vicsorik, Nancy Jenkins, Joe Miller, Roy Dival, John Tomlinson, Alan Wickstrom, and Harold Kaufman for taking time from their campaigns to join us today. This and all the forums are available throughout the month on Cox Channel 3. You can also view them via Cox On Demand in the Free Zone and on Cox's YouTube channel. We encourage you to learn more about the South Orange County Economic Coalition and its ongoing efforts to promote the growth and economic vitality throughout the region by visiting our website at www.economiccoalition.com. On behalf of the South Orange County Economic Coalition and Cox Communications, I'm Jim Leach. Thank you for being with us, and be sure to vote on November 4th.